Welcome to Staying Sober with Papa Joey. I'm Papa Joey, and this channel is all about your sobriety and mine. Let's get to it. Why this channel? Right? You're probably thinking another channel on getting sober, staying sober. I hear you. I had second thoughts when I was putting it together myself. Number one, I was thinking, do I really want to go through this? I mean, there's a lot of work to do a channel like this. But then I decided, as I'm getting up there in age, that it's time for me to give back. And I've got my reasons, and I'll get into those reasons either maybe in this podcast or other podcasts. But I decided, after 30 years of being sober and counting, that it's time for me to give back. Because I see a lot of people struggle with getting sober, staying sober, with both alcohol and drugs. And if for me sometimes, even though I like to think of myself as a tough guy, which I'm really not, and I wear my heart on my sleeves, people who know me know that I can be an emotional type of a person. But it hurts me deeply when I see people that struggle with alcohol and drugs, because I was one of them. Now, I didn't do drugs, smoke pot, in high school and stuff, but that just made me hungry. So it wasn't a big deal for me. Drinking, I enjoyed my drinking, and I did it start at the age of 12 and drank until I was 32 years old. So, and I drank a lot, trust me on that. But when it came time for me to stop for the last time, I felt different. Because before I would do stupid things, get in trouble. I've been arrested, because of the drinking, totaled a few cars, lost countless relationships with nice women, jobs. You have it. I probably screwed it up because, I was drinking. Now, don't get me wrong. I've screwed up things too being sober for these 30 years. So I'm going to be honest with you. But at least I wasn't drunk. Which makes it even more difficult, because when you screw up and you're sober for a long period of time, you can't blame anything. At least back then I could go, oh man, I'm sorry, I was drinking. Oh, I can't believe I said that. I'm so sorry. Nowadays when I screw up, it's like, yeah, I said that. I'm sorry. Or sometimes I'll just say, yeah, I said it and I meant it. That's the way it is. Because I am a pretty direct person. But it still bothers me when I see people struggling. And I decide I'm going to put the channel together. In the past, I worked in the bar business, and I had people coming up to me all the time saying, how do you do this? You're working in a bar and you're sober. How does that work out? And it all boiled down to what my mindset was. And for me, it was pretty simple. I had to make staying sober easy. So I figured it out early on. If I don't put booze in me, I'm not going to get drunk. Now, I did do things to get my thinking straight, like I did go to AA, and that helped. My last day I drank was August 30th of 1992. The last time I got blasted was August 29th of 1992. And I walked into an AA room August 31st of 1992. And that's when I stopped drinking and smoking cigarettes. So I did both of them together. So it was a little difficult, but when I walked into that room, I had made up my mind once and for all, and I did it in the past. I'm going to quit drinking, but I never went as far as going into an AA meeting, and I never went as far as the night before that August 30th, where I was reflecting on what happened to me the night before that, where I got smashed. And as I was sitting there having my last 4 beers that I had in the refrigerator and tears rolling down my face because I made such an ass out of myself again. And then I kept on thinking about what was going on in my life at that time. I just said it was done. So as I sat there and drank those last 4 cans of beer, I felt something different this time. I felt as though I was saying a goodbye to like an old friend, like a relationship I've been in since I was 12. And when I threw those cans away in the dumpster and I was walking back to my apartment, I realized I was done. Something inside changed. And then that's why I ended up going to an AA meeting. Now, I'm not here to push AA on anybody. It's a decision everybody has to make for themselves. But I got to be honest how I did it, right? And hopefully you'll say, hey, maybe that sounds like a good idea. If you're thinking about getting sober, that's a good start. You don't have to stay there. I left after a while, and I have my reasons. And I'll share those in these podcasts. And also I'll do a series on the 12 steps of AA, what I call the good and the bad of the 12 steps. But for the most part, I needed to go there. I needed a place where I just, got out of my head for a little while. I was there with other people that weren't drinking, and it was okay. Early on, real early on, like a week early on, my wife decided she wanted a divorce, and 2 months later, her and my 2 kids moved back to New York. We were in Florida at the time. I'm still in Florida, but we moved here 9 months prior. She left, took my kids, and I'm in Florida with nobody, right? Except some of the people I had in AA. And I'll share this with you, and then we're going to end this podcast because I don't want to make anything too long. But a turning point for me was, even though at that time my wife left, it was just a little over, I had just a little over 2 months of being sober. And I had to pack the van and say goodbye to my 2 daughters and my wife. And it was November 13th, Friday the 13th, right, of 1992. So as I said goodbye to them, of course, I was a basket case. And I got through that night. And then the next morning I woke up, and there was no cell phones or anything at that time. And, I'm a mess, thinking she's driving alone. She's got my kids. And I found out the weather was bad and she had some car trouble. She had called a neighbor, and I'm like, oh, God. So it was about 10:30 in the morning, and I decided I need to keep busy. So I decided I was going to clean the apartment. So I go underneath the kitchen counter to grab some cleaning supplies, and there was a bottle of vodka there. Must have been there from the last time I got drunk. So I pulled out that vodka, put it on the kitchen counter, and I said, you know what? Why not? Who the fuck is going to know? Right? Look at me right now. Look at Joey, look at yourself. You deserve that. Wife's gone, kids are gone, nobody's down here. You've been sober for 2 months, still that didn't help. You deserve this. So I grabbed a glass, poured some vodka in there. Tears were still, coming down my eyes now because I got that pain in my gut. I wanted that gone. I'm missing my daughters. And again, I'm thinking, nobody's going to know. I could drink and nobody will know now. I could still go to AA and no one will know. And then all of a sudden, I said, no, I'm not going to do this. So I poured the glass, the vodka down the drain, grabbed the bottle, poured that down the drain. And it was probably about 11:15, and the AA meeting began at noontime. So I just drove around for a little while, and then I went to an AA meeting. Of course, I was still a mess, but I got through it without putting a drink in me. So what I'm trying to get to to the point with, I realized then I had a decision to make. When times get really tough, and that was tough, do I put a drink in me or not? It was that simple. Yes, if I did, what would happen in my mind, I thought if I drank and I started to get the buzz, I'm going to keep going. Maybe drink a little more to vodka. I wasn't really a vodka drinker. But once I got the buzz in me, I know what's going to happen. I'm going to the store and I'm buying some beer. If I buy the beer and I continue to drink, and then I'm going to go out because now I'm a single guy, wife's gone, got nobody down here, might as well go to a bar and drink with some people, right? Have a good time. So I didn't go that route because I made the choice. That's just key early on. For if you're listening and you're thinking about picking up a drink or you want to get sober, you got a choice. Either you're going to make the right choice, which for me was you don't drink, or you do drink. And I realized that if I drink, I'm responsible for whatever the hell happens to me at that point. So I didn't drink. And early on, I realized something that has kept me sober for the past 30 plus years is I have a choice. And I always say, too, I don't drink no matter what, and no matter what means no matter what. I'm just a person who no longer drinks alcohol, and I'm fine with that. And you have to get yourself to that point, or if you're already at that point, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But you need to get yourself to that point if you want to get some sobriety or stay sober for lengths of time. And you have to want to stay sober. If you don't want to get sober, if you haven't figured out why you should stay sober, take some time and figure it out. And what's key about it is you have to realize why you want you to stay sober, not why you want to stay sober for other people. You've got to figure out, if you're having trouble with it, why you want to stay sober for you. And once I figured that out, that everything that I'm doing is for me now, it makes it a lot easier, especially that you have that choice. You basically hold, I don't want to say your future, but your sobriety, like right here in the palm of your hands. Either you drink or you don't. You use or you don't. And it does get easier. However, there's going to be situations that come up in our lives where we got to make those choices again, right? Fortunate for me, it's been years since I ever thought about putting a drink in me. But there are times where I, kick back. I go to the Keys, I like Key West, and, you're sitting down there and you're outside and, see all the people, go to a bar or something, people are drinking, and I'm still having a good time, but, you start thinking, it would be nice, but then I'm like, no, it wouldn't be nice because I would get out of control, especially at a place like Key West. So it's all here, folks. It begins right here, and that's what I tell people that come up to me at times and saying, how do you stay sober this long? And I said, because I want to stay sober. And I'm doing it for me, and it's no big deal. I'm fine without drinking, and I make it that simple. So this channel is going to be mostly about making, I don't want to say sobriety easy, but I want to make it enjoyable where you, if you're struggling, start to enjoy the transformation of yourself getting sober and then staying sober, because it is a little bit of a process, but it's one that you can enjoy. And there's going to be some bumps along the way, which is okay. You just got to handle them different. I promise you, if you remember this, don't drink or use no matter what, and no matter what means no matter what. And next time you think about putting a drink or a drug in you, I promise you, you're going to hear that in your mind. Don't drink or use no matter what. And no matter what means no matter what. And basically what I'm saying there ain't no freaking excuses. Only a choice. You're going to make the right choice or you're going to make the wrong choice. And if you make the wrong choice, meaning you're going to drink or use, then you got to man up or woman up and go, whatever happens, I accept full responsibility of it because I know shit could hit the fan if I drink or use, but yet I'm going to risk it. Because there's nothing worse that I hate. And I don't even like the word hate, but what I dislike the most is when I hear people say, after they screw up, oh, it's, it wasn't my fault, or, blah, blah, blah. You put drugs in your alcohol, chances are it is your fault. And it's difficult for me to say that. And in another podcast, I'm going to explain why, because somebody very close to me, I lost because of drug abuse. And I'll discuss that in a separate podcast. And I've lost a lot of people that were close to me due to drug or to alcohol too. And I've seen people that I went to AA with that had 4, 5, 6 years of sobriety, went back out and used again and fucked up their life because they put alcohol in them. And I'd rather not see that happen to anybody. It's okay if you don't drink. I thought because up north, I played music. I was a drummer at a young age, started playing professionally at a young age. And I'll talk more about that in another podcast about when I started to drink and how this whole thing happened. But, it comes a time where you just can't do it anymore. And I had a lot of fun drinking. But I also got into a lot of trouble when I was drinking, and I just didn't want to do that anymore. So anyways, this is the first podcast episode. I'm not even sure what they call them, but whatever it is, it's the first one. I'm going to try to make it enjoyable. I won't ramble too much. A lot of times I'll think of something and I'll just shoot it out there, especially if I think it'll help somebody. And what I would like for you guys to do, if who's ever watching, hit the subscribe button. I will be posting more videos. I have a series coming out called the ABCs of Sobriety, which I think people will like. It's going to be fun and informative, and it'll just keep, hopefully it's going to keep people from screwing up again. Because I know everybody goes online to look up for, answers or if they're struggling with things. I mean, for me, I use, online from everything to trying to learn how to fix a car or to cook, because I'm not really that good of a cook. But anyways, I want to thank you for coming by, stopping by the channel. And I go by Papa Joey because my grandkids call me that, and I love my grandkids. And I'm going to go by Papa Joey for staying sober. So tune in the next time. Check out the ABCs of Sobriety when I put it out there, and we'll catch you again.